Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show my people. Belize our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out. It's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to build it. And all the things that must be happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play around, get where you need to. You can tune in for work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait till the time calling? It's not so we no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show my people. Believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out. It's the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to build it. And all the things that must happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice of opinion and place your calling.
Morning and welcome to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes talk show here at XTV simulcasting on Crime Radio for this morning, Thursday, June 26, 2025 in beautiful Belize, Southside Belize to be specific. I'm Sister YaYa Marin Coleman sitting in for Brother Nuri Mohammed, and it's our time until 9 o'clock this morning. The rain hold up, at least in Belize City, the rain hold up. Mosquito about bad, but we wake up with a move. We give thanks for life. We are reason till 9 o'clock this morning. The usual lineup: we have the weather report by the National Meteorological Service of Belize. I didn't get the forecaster, but they want to tell me and I'll acknowledge the forecaster. And then we listen to the news brief for the morning, the first one for this morning, prepared by XTV News staff under the leadership of Maricela Maya. Then we're going to take one short break. Open up the phone lines. We have big guests by Zoom at 7:30 this morning. So I don't know I want to miss out on that. Stay tuned to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, WUB. We are live streaming on YouTube and Facebook at XTV Belize. Weather time.
Our latest radar imagery showed a few showers, mostly over the south, with some light rain observed offshore. A tropical wave is affecting the country. The 24-hour forecast: skies will be cloudy to overcast, some showers, isolated thunderstorm, and periods of rain will affect some coastal and southern areas at first. Then shower and thunderstorm activity will increase over most areas as the day progresses. Please note that there is an excessive rainfall watch in effect for the country. Excessive rainfall is possible over the country during the next 24 to 48 hours, and residents are advised to stay tuned to official weather updates and continue to monitor the weather situation. The maximum temperatures for today will reach 85 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 87 inland and 77 up in the hills. The low temperatures for tonight will be around 77 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 72 inland and 67 up in the hills. The winds will be from the east-southeast at 10 to 20 knots with higher gusts, and the sea conditions will be moderate to rough. There is a small craft caution in effect for occasionally gusty winds and locally rough seas, especially in heavy showers and thunderstorms. Operators of small craft are advised to exercise caution. A high tide will occur this morning at 10:03, a low tide this evening at 5:40, another high tide tonight at 11:49, and another low tide early tomorrow morning at 4:31. The sun rose this morning at 5:20 and will set this evening at 6:30. The moon will rise this morning at 6:25 and will set tonight at 8:06. In the sargassum forecast, there continues to be a medium to high chance of more sargassum affecting beaches across the country during the next few days. The outlook for Friday and Friday night: mostly cloudy to overcast skies. Some showers, thunderstorms, and periods of rain will occur around the country. In the tropical weather outlook for the North Atlantic Basin, tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 48 hours. For a review of our forecast and other products, please visit our website at nms.gov.bz. With that, we end this morning's forecast from the Belize National Met Service.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989, Crem FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
The KHMH authority has gone ahead and reported to the Labor Minister that a trade dispute exists with its workers' union over pension demands. For several days, the union itself has been indicating that it was ready to issue the 21-day notice of strike action. Nonetheless, in its latest communication to management Tuesday, it rejected the latest offer of an ex gratia payment and asked for a return to the negotiating table. The union cited a lower figure than agreed. Once notice of a dispute is given, the Minister, Honorable Florence Marin Jr., as per the Settlement of Disputes in Essential Services Act, is required to determine if the means exist to settle the dispute. Otherwise, he is to refer the dispute to the Essential Services Arbitration Tribunal. The KHMHA reports in its letter that attempts to resolve the issue of pension have been futile, as the hospital maintains that the staff does not qualify for pension under the Pension Act. The authority further states that having initiated industrial action without reporting to the minister that a dispute exists, the union is, quote, in violation of the law and have now put the safety of patients at risk, end quote. Union President Andrew Baird told Crem News XTV via phone yesterday that the union views as an act of bad faith the decision of the KHMHA to notify the Labor Minister of a trade dispute.
How would you state a dispute when we only had one engagement? You made a proposal and you did not allow us to respond adequately as we have also hear our counter. So the CEO and the chair of the board have been acting in bad faith, supported by the government.
Given that that is the view of the union, how do you proceed from here?
We will be sitting with our legal minds over the next couple of days to chart a way or determine how we can deal with this matter. But certainly for us, we believe an opportunity must be given to us to come back for us to go back to the table and make a counter position as mandated by our members. I don't know what is the issue, what triggered the CEO to act outside of the process, which that is their mantra all the time, to do things outside of the process and then come back and act now stick and as if the union is doing something wrong to them.
But if they consider they have nothing more to offer, don't you believe that that would be an impasse that would require the matter to go to the minister?
But I'm saying, how can it be an impasse if they make an offer and we did not get an opportunity to counter? Yes, we said that we reject the 4% ex gratia, but we did not make a counter. We asked for them to come back to the table so that they can, so we can make our presentation of our counter to that ex gratia. They didn't even, so we have to be given that opportunity.
As we shared, some 40 staff members in different units called in sick on Tuesday, but we confirmed that the staff complement was back to normal yesterday. Baird refuted claims made in a couple blog posts and social media news pages that union members acted negligently by leaving the NIC staffed with only one nurse on Tuesday, allegedly endangering the lives of newborns who require specialized care. The same was said regarding the hemodialysis service.
We will be sitting with our attorney to look at the legal options. Is that because that was outrightly a falsification of what occurred with with the nurses at Kalushna. And I am surprised that Kalushna accept that media station to put out such a thing when they Kalushna well know that there were 8 nurses in the NICU yesterday and there was 13 babies. The ratio in the NICU is normally 2 patients to 1 nurse, with 13 patients and 8 nurses. That was well satisfactory amount of staff that was needed for such. So that was falsification and pure political rhetoric from that media house, and we know who owns that media house. And like I say, we'll be looking at our legal option as to the discriminatory and characterization of our nurses and members of our union in that regard.
What about the hemodialysis section?
There wasn't, from what I was made to understand, there was a nurse or 2 at the hemodialysis, but just that the amount of patients in comparison to the nurses there was not enough for them to do dialysis for some of the patients. But once again, these people, if they were ill, who is it to distribute that these people cannot get ill or should not get ill? We are human beings just like every other person in this country. I understand the plight of the people when services are not available for them. But they must also understand that we are human beings, we get sick too. We can't come to work during sick days. When COVID and the staff of Kalushna came to work and do what they will do, everybody classifies us as heroes and things. But the minute we get sick now, of a sudden with zeros.
The hospital itself, though, in notifying the minister that a trade dispute exists, has accused the union of putting patients at risk now.
Once again, if any employee or any among the employee gets sick in an institution at any given time, it is the duty of the management to find relief persons to check and fill in the gaps or so. But you can't say, because people get sick, they're in cars unsafe condition in the hospital. We have a right to get sick. It's an entitlement.
The government negotiating team is expected to meet this morning in Belize City with the joint unions negotiating team JUNT to continue discussions regarding their demands, which include an 8.5% salary increase for public sector workers. Yesterday, the Prime Minister would not say much but revealed that a third offer will be made.
What I've said with unions that I will not comment. I want the ministers and the deputy prime minister that will put in charge of that to be able to comment on that. They will be to the unions tomorrow, as opposed to just sending the letter. We'll be to them, give them the letter, and we hope that they're going to accept. I think we've been bending over, trying to accommodate as best as we can, but we're trying to do something for not only for the unions but for the country, because at the end of the day, it's all of us taxpayers that will have to pay that. Okay.
In response to the criticism from the Public Service Union president that the government pays an exorbitant figure every year on office rentals, averaging over $6 million annually, Prime Minister John Brisenia said they are in fact working on the construction of more office space.
We are working on that. If you notice, we are building, we're starting the work on building a magistrate, a judiciary center right here on Lake Independence Boulevard. We're working along with Social Security and the government of Belize, and we're getting some investments from other bondholders to be able to build a huge campus, secure everything there. We're working on that. We want to get partner either with the private sector or ourselves. Look at this place right here with the 5 Cs. The government pays for that. We're paying $22,000 a rent a month. That can pay a mortgage, and that's exactly what we're working. So you're not coming with nothing new. We are working on that. We are adjusting it. But when you look, and I don't have the exact number right now, but when you see where we were in 2020 to where we are today, and you see how much more how much more renters we've been getting, it's not much from 2020.
Asked about the list of tax defaulters that was published earlier this week, Prime Minister John Brisenia shared his personal view that the list should not have been published and said work should have continued with the taxpayers to reach an amicable solution.
It's unfortunate that that was made public. It should have, and I'm speaking for myself, it should have not been made public, and we should have continued working with these individuals to work with them. As you know, there have been tremendous growth in the economy over the past 4 years, and nobody can dispute the fact. And but it's unfortunate that some small businesses, many instances, because they don't know how to go about filing their taxes, are in problems. But we stepped in. We step in whenever they ask us for help. We cannot write off taxes. It's only the National Assembly. But how do we help? We would then try to negotiate with with BTS, the Belize Tax Service, to try to remove the interest or the penalties so it could make it more affordable. We do not want to get anybody out of business. We want more businesses. We want more entrepreneurs. That's why we've been doing a lot of work with Beltrade, working with a lot of small businesses for them to be able to thrive in this growing economy.
The University of Belize researchers disputing that economic growth that your administration heralds.
Well, then I think they need to go and talk to the IMF. It's not us that are doing that. So it's the IMF. It's not with us. So let them go and talk to them. And if they know more, if they know more than more than the IMF, that's fine. I've just got the professor that he, but that's I would not. I've just started reading it. But what it has pointed out, well, an important thing to find, that under the UDP, this country regressed. We're finally catching up to where we were in 2007 when there was a PUP government. And in 4 years, we've done that. We've turned things around. And now we're building on that. We're working in the services, with BPOs, with tourism, agriculture, the exports that we're having in agriculture, we have never seen before. We have Guatemalans coming in and they buy milk, they buy eggs, they buy chicken, they buy coconuts, they buy everything that we have, and we need to take advantage of that.
And that's at the end of this morning news brief brought to us by XTV. And to listen to more news, because as you know, this morning show is being simulcasted on Crim Radio. So you could listen to more news after this talk show finished this morning from 9 till 12 o'clock. There is Morning Stew. And then at 12:30, there's a full news package. At 3 o'clock, a news brief. And at 5:15, a full news package on Crim Radio. Here at XTV, there's a full news package at 6 o'clock this evening. For all XTV programming, you could go to XTV Belize on Facebook, XTV Belize on YouTube. And make not forget, the forecaster this morning was Tariq Matthews. He brought us the weather forecast from the National Meteorological Service of Belize. We'll take one short break, come back, and open up the phone lines.
Informative, accurate, current information. Crem's newscast. Local, regional, and international news. Weather and sports.
At Atlantic Bank, we stand as more than just a financial institution. We are your partners in progress, dedicated to fostering your success by providing tailored solutions to micro, small, and medium enterprises. Your successes are our triumphs, and every success story deserves to be celebrated. We pledge to stand by you every step of the way. Today, we celebrate the values that define you with your unwavering dedication, steadfast commitment, boundless innovation, resolute work ethic, and unyielding ambition. We will navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and continue building the future together.
Imagine getting rewards for your spending. Smart prepaid customers countrywide, it's time to level up with Smart Gains. Smart Gains are exclusive, limited time offers sent straight to your phone. We're talking irresistible rewards. You'll actually want extra credit, bonus data, and exclusive perks, all tailored to you. Because at Smart, we've always got your back. Don't miss out on rewards made just for you. Smart Gains, Smart Savings, Smart You. Smart, bringing people together.
In 2024, the Belizean diaspora took over Los Angeles with the first ever Belize Diaspora Summit, and you know the only thing that could be ever better than that is to do it again. Belize Diaspora Summit 2.0. This time it takes place in the state of Florida, Fort Lauderdale Port Convention Center, July 10th, the 11th, the 12th. Belizeans from the diaspora, Belizeans from home in Belize, join together. Let's do it again. 3 days, government services, clinics, business displays, kitty corner, pop-up trivias, panel discussions. There will be highlights for business mixers. There will be a live performance of Racindio. Destiny Wadney is going to be there. There's going to be a live performance of Makobi. And you will have Immigration and Civil Rights Town Hall, special guest Kenneth Gibson, interview and book reading. There will be a wind-up reception, rhythms and rum. It's happening, Police Dashboard 2.0, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Port Convention Center. Don't miss it.
Welcome back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes Talk Show. This is where we reason. The phone number is 280-5848. We'll have a guest at 7:30. So, I'm going to call and I'm going to share whatever I want to share. It would be good to get something positive and uplifting and bright for the morning, because life have hilltop, mountaintop, and valleys. So, oftentimes in a talk show space, we spend a lot of time in the valleys, because that's our real. But I don't want to hear some feel-good story this morning. I can share my affirmation with you, and then if you don't call, I want to share what up my mind this morning. So my affirmation this morning is 2 things can help your nervous system: being around kind-hearted and self-aware people, and developing the inner balance to not react to everything around you. At the work family. Remember, the phone number is 280-5848. So this morning, and this is the number one subject where I intend to start with this morning, but in preparing for our guest, I just make the connection, and there are no coincidences in life. So our guest at 7:30 will be a brother from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. He's a criminologist, Brother Darius Figueira. He was a guest a couple weeks ago on Sunday Review. And he shared one lot about transnational organized crime, specifically in the Caribbean region. And in having that conversation, I find out that he wrote a whole book 7 years ago as it relates to Belize. The name of the book is Belize: Human Smuggling, Transnational Organized Crime, Politicians and Public Servants. My mouth wide open when I see the name of the book. I'm like, this serious? The book actually they focus on human smuggling, transnational organized crime, politicians and public servants that Belize. There's you could go online and there's the first chapter of the book on Kindle, Amazon, that you could read for it is just chapter 1 is mind-boggling. I have my own copy, but I forget to bring it this morning. But I'll bring it. Thanks, Krista, for showing the book. Now, what part I make the connection this morning, where I never made a make before, is that we know this Saturday that the National Trade Union Congress of Belize has organized a solidarity march and rally for Saturday, June 28th. Now, these are primarily public servants who hold the government of Belize accountable as relates to money, what they have worked for, increase in wages, public servants. Over a period of time, they build momentum and they encourage Belizeans to come out. And they're not only but for their money. I feel that they heard, there was a conversation a couple weeks ago here on WB, and Mose made the point that I had called in and I was saying that respect to public servants, advocating enough for their interests. But what about we out a road? And so Mose did a great job in making the point that the public servants need to connect their concerns to wider national issues, and they have. So this is where the document where I have say that the theme for the Solidarity March and Rally, only the people can save the people, and the sub-themes are good governance, respect for unions, democracy now, and systemic change. They will assemble 8:30 from Civic Center. The march begin at 9:30. They arrive and gather for the rally at 11:30. They were left from Civic Center on Central American Boulevard, then going down Cemetery Road, Orange Street, Albert Street, South Street, Regent Street, and end the Battlefield Park, and then call for the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, call for all executive members of NTUCB and Ellis Alany. Now, I use the slogan, only people could save the people. That not originally from me. I hear it from somewhere and I use it because I feel that it's applicable and it's real. Now for me, they're not only a slogan. Only the people want to save the people for me mean that the people who are often paid handsomely for look after the Belizean people interests have failed. I want to be moderate. Since September 21st, 1981. A structural failure. And a structural failure primarily because at the time when we get so-called political independence, people like me call it flag and anthem independence because that all will change really. And for sure that I'm not just the badmouth the system. When I said that just flag and anthem independence, nothing not really changed. That because of the Westminster system that we accepted, line, hook, and sinker, at the point of so-called political independence. Now, I look for me. I don't know why my information not show up right now on my phone. Come on. There you go. The reason why I said that is because having one Governor General, first and foremost, that's how you know you only got flag and anthem independence. The Governor General represents the European King interests. And for his interest, the UK and the 14 realms, the 14 Caribbean realms. So the 14 realms, and I want to name their phone, the Antigua and Barbuda, Australia, Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Grenada, Jamaica, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Solomon Islands, and Tuvalu. Now, the Governor General represents the European King Charles III interests. And for his interest that the UK and the 14 Caribbean realms, or the 14 countries I just told about. So the fact that the Governor General, they represent for their interest, the first signal that this is not a truly sovereign and independent country. And at the point of political independence, there was no awareness campaign, no meaningful people assemblies or gatherings for us Belizean people. How we want to define for ourselves as Belizeans, what we want be for we values, what want be the consequence of people who not adhere to these values. And that I mean to everybody. So we have one Governor General, we have the parliamentary system where we have primarily two political parties all the time, 6 of one and half a dozen of the next. The judicial system, we have the systems where European enslavers and colonizers left for we. We just the faces of the people change, and I say primarily European people racialized as white people. You see people look like we will come from Belize majority African and indigenous bloodlines. So because we accept their systems wholesale, that the root of the problems when it comes to corruption in particular. I was just, you hear people say from time to time, you never know who to watch you. And like you really don't know who to watch you. Who to watch you individually, who to watch you collectively, and the work we're to do or we're not to do. So I'm absolutely, again, shocked when the brother Akko, my co-host from Sunday Review, the only news review talk show in Belize, starting this year, he's from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and he is conscious brother, very knowledgeable and credible. And so I would have said to him, Brother Akko, I listen to the news, or this away in the news, and I think this, I want somebody, preferably from the Caribbean, who could reason about whatever the news concern may be for me. No, it was Brother Akko's suggestion that in 2025 that we focus on the Caribbean. Since 2012, I made the decision as the producer and host of Sunday Review, for Sunday Review being one news review talk show, the only one in the country, just because I had a host and produce Sunday Review probably from like 2007, and that by 2012 I'm just sick and tired. I pretty much see the same people, say the same thing most Sundays. They say it on other talk shows. It never done nothing for me. So then I did some research and thought that, and especially because Sunday mornings, now it is changing with social media that you can access news like 24/7, and all the news are not always accurate news. Everybody become news reporter and journalist now. So because there was a void, like on Sunday mornings, Belize tend to not have, from the traditional media houses, you may have on the radio, but there's no analysis on Saturday and Sunday of the news, for the most part. There's none. So because I saw that gap or that need, then that there was Sunday Review, fill it in. Now Sunday Review was always produced by Criminology Radio initially. So that don't me invent Sunday Review, me can't find that. But changing it into a news review talk show, yeah, that 100% me. So, and I said in things publicly because I know my worth as a human being. I know the value of the work where I lead and participate in people of Belize and globally. So that's why I put that on the table. Because if own your stuff, other people could claim it. So you have to say like, that me. That me. So Brother Darius tell me about this book. And I'm like, I've never heard of this book before. This is a serious business. So I say, Brother Darius, what make you decide to write one whole book? Like, that's a serious thing where you did. What make you decide to write one whole book on Belize? And then he said, that is, I'm looking for because you could go to the Kindle link. And he said, as a criminologist, he does research. And then he said in the introduction of the book, I can tell you, in chapter 1, and I recommend Belizean people forget this book. You can read chapter 1 online. It's called Organized Crime, Politicians, and Public Servants. Now, the connection that happened for me this morning is this. Respect to the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, organizing and bringing these concerns forward. My question is, so you have the unions have one fire stick in this fire burn. You have the government of Belize have one fire stick in this fire burn. What the fire stick there for the other Belizeans? Now I know the union members have family members. Respect is due. But the wider Belizean public, Belizeans in the diaspora, what if we fire stick there in this fire burn? And oftentimes, we don't have the fire stick. That fire stick need for the day. Because the Belizeans' money make this country run. Belizean workers make this country run. Majority working people where not have one traditional 9 to 5, then hustle, so you have the parallel economy. Make this country run. People where they get paid $5 an hour, make this country run. We are at the base of the pyramid. We are the majority. And this that throughout the world, especially the global south, when it comes to the capitalist economic system, that the people hold that pyramid up. If the majority are we at the bottom of that pyramid, organizing for we interest, because the people then we should be looking out for we consistently fail because of the structural racism, that's what it is, in place to make sure that we don't have the kind of life that we ought to have as human beings. So I just say, who the whole, the government of Belize accountable, who the whole, the unions accountable. The unions primarily represent public workers. This particular research, Brother Darius Figueira do, is based on an audit that was done by the Ashamegana. I look up for the name. There's an official name. I think it's called the Supreme Audit. I want to call the official name, what we just called, is called the Supreme Audit Institution of Belize. The Supreme Audit Institution of Belize did submitted an Auditor General's report. And this was done under the leadership of the former Auditor General, my beloved sister, Dorothy Bradley. I want to stand up next to that sister, 10 toes deep, for her courage, her brilliance, her leadership, and the team that she led. Because yes, that was she face, that was she name him with the hair, but she had a team of people, Belizean people who worked with her. So, Brother Darius, who will be with us, who's scheduled to be with us at 7:30, write this book based on the Immigration and Naturalization Department of the Ministry of Immigration, Belize, Auditor General of Belize report. So it was titled, and I'll just read it quickly for now. It says, this is an analysis of the power relations between transnational organized crime, TOC, ruling politicians of Belize, and public servants of the Immigration and Naturalization Department, IND, Ministry of Immigration, Belize. This relationship was revealed in the audit report of the Auditor General of Belize of the IND, titled, quote, Special Audit Visa Immigration and Nationality Department for the period 2011-2013, and the press reports of the hearing Special Senate Committee in its investigation of the contents of the said audit report. This analysis focuses on the alliance between transnational organized crime, ruling politicians, and public servants in the creation and operation of an illicit organized crime enterprise located within the operational space of a licit legal state agency, the IND. The illicit enterprise is human smuggling on a globalized scale driven by transnational organized crime in its quest for licit legal visas, permanent residency permits, nationality certificates, passports, and other forms of identification of Belize for its clients of global origin. Specifically, Asundon, the emphasis is on the power relations of the three major entities of the alliance that make possible the illicit organized crime enterprise focused on the IND of Belize. Last sentence. The dynamic of this alliance and its impact upon the members of the alliance, the state of Belize, the governance of Belize, and the people of Belize are all illustrated and even expressed by the power relations between members of the alliance and the discourses utilized in the exercise of these power force relations. It's 7:15, that's a whole lot. Now, we have talked, Belizeans, privately, publicly, people have written, we've seen conversations, we've seen press interviews over and over again about the impact of violence in Belize. And oftentimes, what we say, the identifiably African people racialized as black youths being paraded in front of the cameras on news media, housed at the Belize Central Prison, disproportionately based on the amount of black people that make up the population of Belize, over and over again. That's where the focus is. But part you're not to the focus upon the politicians, public servants, what I call the predatory class, or other people call them the oligarchs, or the elites, or the wealthy people of Belize. You oftentimes not see for their face, for their name not get called. You don't know what they do exactly. As Belizeans, we just say, we don't make guns, we don't bring guns into the country. This particular audit report, and that's why I say you never know who to watch you, the work where they do, and how people could use it. So I was up there 7 years ago. This book was published, the first edition was April 20, 2018. Belize, Human Smuggling, transnational organized crime, politicians and public servants. So we know who are the actors, at least in this specific case study. We know that the system, the Westminster system, Westminster, you know Creole, yes, a minister, but they're not minister, that Westminster system, we inherit from European enslavers and colonizers and patchwork it. It was not designed genuinely for the liberation of Belizean people, for the safety of our natural resources, for Belizeans have the best quality of life. That's why we continue to have corruption unchecked, because the system facilitated it. And then the people now were Belizeans go elect since September 21st, 1981. Hip to it. They don't figure it out. So then they fleece it. And I have to give, I never have, I mean, if people listen to the Special Senate Select Committee, when they go through, it get exhausting. We've had so many. What we get out of it? What meaningful out of it? We taxpaying money to pay for that anyways. But here we have someone who has dedicated his life to doing this work in the region. I don't know anybody else. If they have anybody else like this brother, I come make a know and I'll check me out. And he has not been given the respect and credit that he has dedicated his life to. Brother struggle for make two ends meet. Because sometimes when you do work like this, the system want to make sure you can't eat. Because it's not enough for them best interest to expose what the system is about. Now, I recognize, I don't take this work lightly. I recognize that this is dangerous work. I am concerned for my safety. In 2007, Brother Mose Hyde say, one leading. I don't remember what the leading. One leading was the narcotics trade or system in Belize, and then throw Molotov cocktail at my brother's house. So I know for bring Brother Darius, I already had him on Sunday Review. WEB, that one different vibes, different audience. For bringer, that one risk. I don't take it lightly. But the work needs to be done. If we genuinely serious about changing the status quo, the way things work right now, for a better Belize for we, our unborn children, then we need to be honest with ourselves and have one examination of we self, we the Belizean people. The focus right now is on public servants and politicians and the Westminster system where make the corruption unchecked continues and how that negatively impact the lives of Belizeans every single day. And I know unique to Belize. It's happening throughout the Caribbean region. It happened in other countries on the continent of Africa, in Europe, in Asia. It happened around the world. So that's why it's called transnational. And it only could be an idle landing thing because when Brother Darius come on a couple of weeks ago, he was very, relatable. It talking in one language where we could understand. It connected that. I never had that when I read, and like I said, I thought it was an excellent move that he make the first chapter available online. You could go, again, you could Google Belize human smuggling, transnational organized crime, politicians and public servants by Darius Figueira, April 20, 2018. The first chapter is online. You could read it. Just reading chapter 1 is just mind-boggling because he carefully gone through the audit report. And names are called, he used the audit report, numbers are given. This is what is so unreal that, and I don't believe that the news media either had the time or had the skills for going through the, I know they had done some research on it. I'll give them some credit for that. Chapter 2 of the book is called The Power Relations of the Alliance. Chapter 3, The Terrain of Organized Crime. Chapter 4, The Government of Belize. And Chapter 5, The Discourse of Corruption in the Context of Belize. And so, one of the, Unuko Kali in a number at 280-5848. And at the focus right now that we need to hold politicians and public servants accountable for the unchecked corruption in this country. That way of life. That have one negative impact on we lives. Because monies that are collected that should be spent to ensure that Belizeans have the best service when it comes to, let's say, education. We should not have a church-state education system. It's a human rights violation. People have the right to choose if they want to participate in any faith-based system or not. So the schools should be secular schools with no faith attached to it. So the fact that we have church-state school system, like I said, at the point of so-called political independence, we just accept everything where most of the European colonizers and enslavers left for we just take it. So the church-state school system, the political parties, the way they're structured, they don't even register. Now, everybody else have to register, right? You have to give account to your money. There's checks and balance for every other group of people, but not for the political parties. And not only then to any political party that believes not have to be registered. You have your court system, the judiciary system, where there are questions about the fairness of the system, especially when your judges or magistrates are hired based on the government of Belize. There are questions about that. And I just to repeat what other people say publicly, we read about, we hear about that. I just to show, I know I bring this book, I don't know how much time I want to have this morning. I know I like hear about Belize, but, and I may talk about that. That's the way I may talk about this morning until I make that connection this morning about the public servants and government of Belize having sticks in at this fire burner accountability and what part the fire stick there for everyday Belizean people. So this is one book where teach you how to organize. It's called Building Power, Sharpening Minds, the Political Education Workshop Manual, 2nd edition, School of Unity and Liberation. So this is one of my sacred texts. So some of the things that we need to understand, I look for the definition because they have one that's real good about what a system is, so that we have when I call out the church-state system, so we could better understand what systems are. So it says a system, the one group of institutions, like the ones that we call out, social relations and cultural norms working together to function as a complex whole. So the Westminster system, that it complex, that a whole, the Westminster system. And then you have one group of institutions like the parliamentary system, the court system, the church-state education system, the healthcare system, pretty much think of all the ministries, right? And then the social relations, how all these connect to impact the lives of Belizean people, including the electoral process. Cultural norms working together. So in Belize, the one cultural norm, if you're a working class person or you unemployed and you get caught up in a legal matter, more than likely you cannot afford one attorney or one who will adequately, genuinely represent your interests. So most of we were in that category, one have to end up the pay one fine, or one end up with one criminal record, or end up the Belize Central Prison. Now the people who are known to be wealthier or have access to material things where they could put up their house lot because they got so much, then people could usually get to an attorney. And remember now, when you're going at one court law, it's not if that who got the best attorney for argue your case. Because you could guilty or wrong and commit the crime, but have one attorney where seasoned, know what to do, know the law, find a loophole and you get off. So those are cultural norms. There were cultural norm for identifiable black men be profiled. Now people of all other ethnicity commit crimes, but and they're profiled by other black men and women who work for the security force. It could be police department or anyone in special units. So I just to point out to know what the cultural norms, and that the way one system, and I know we use the word system a lot. And that's why I like this book, it helped me in organizing. So I read for now again what the one system, a group of institutions, social relations, and cultural norms working together to function as a complex whole. Now, they have different groups of people. You have power group and you have target group. So that's what I'm giving on. Now remember, this is one US-based narrative and text. So you say one power group would be European people racialized as white people, men, rich people, able-bodied people, heterosexuals. The target groups would be people of color, what we call black and brown people, or in Belize's case, you could trace your bloodline to African and indigenous people. Women, impoverished people, people who are differently abled, the LGBTQ people. So at the show, they have different groups. So you have one power group, I have one target group. Then it says, what is this power called? So white supremacy, male supremacy, capitalism, heterosexism, transphobia. I just to break it down so Belizeans could better understand, and there's some people who may know better than me, so welcome for calling. We only have like 3 more minutes. 280-5848. I start off the conversation this morning for recognize that the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, the call Belizeans out for joining this Saturday for one rally. My question is what part the voice there? What part of the fire stick there for everyday Belizeans, that Belize, in the Belizean diaspora, for hold public servants and politicians accountable, and for recognize that the system where we inherit, the Westminster system where we inherit, was never designed for work for we. So we constantly, and not just we, so when I look at like state of emergency, it was never designed to work. It will never work, but then keep to do it. And then it just happened to Belize, and Brother Akko, my co-host on Sunday Review, who oftentimes at the start of Sunday Review share other Caribbean countries' news so that we could hear that what happened to Belize, that happened there at IT, the Trinidad and Tobago, the Barbuda, I mean, Guyana. It happened to other places, so that now it's systemic. That's how you know it's systemic, because it happened everywhere and it play out the same way. They have one definition for systemic too, but it's 2 cents come time. The last time I forget to recognize, and it's a hurry for go talk to the guests. It's 2 cents come time, and 2 cents come is being brought to us by Fort Point Security. So after 2 cents come, Brother Darius Figueira will be here to reason with us. Call on a friend, go to XTV Belize Facebook page, XTV Belize YouTube, tune in to XTV local channel, tune in to Crem Radio. This is one conversation we have Belizean people interest at heart. We have to listen. We have to determine as individuals for learn, for study, for get the knowledge so that we could advocate enough for we best interests, because leadership has consistently failed from within household as parents responsible for raising children, all the way to the top, within government, within faith-based groups. Belizean people, we have one duty for save ourselves. That's why only the people want to save the people mean that we want to take responsibility for examining ourselves and make the changes where we need so we could have a better quality of life. Break time.
You're watching WUB and this is XTV. And they are Ladyville. And I was talking to some Ladyville people and find out from them why they like live at Ladyville. Ladyville have a lot of benefits. Let's find out why and the people in 2 cents.
My 2 cents is this kind of a nice place to live because we're very kind. It's a small village. We know hesitate about nothing. You come, you go. You're planting anything there. That was village. You get fast food at time to time. If you live by your restaurant, your gas station on the highway, your school, point out the school now for where your kids to get hurt, you got a pedestrian, and you got a church. We have cricket field. We come up with softball teams. So you have an entertainment. The only thing we don't have as yet, and I will put it out, that will community center.
And that there are 2 cents.
And that's not my 2 cents.
Thank you.
I love my village.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
I like Ladyville, like a karma and thing, but like not really have to worry too much.
For good or work, too.
Yeah.
All right, that's your 2 cents.
Yeah.
So tell me what you like about Ladyville, what you love about Ladyville, living at Ladyville.
Okay, well, I moved up in Ladyville about 15 years ago. I retired. I'm a Belizean.
Okay.
And I came back and I moved into a place called Lake Garden.
Okay.
It's a very quiet community. It's a very what you might call business-like area.
Okay.
Most of the business people live there. So it's a good area. I don't have any problems with it.
Okay.
You know, but Ladyville in general, even the area, I find it a very nice upcoming area.
All right, there you're 2 cents.
That's my.
In 2024, the Belizean diaspora took over Los Angeles with the first ever Belize Diaspora Summit, and you know the only thing that could be ever better than that is to do it again. Belize Diaspora Summit 2.0. This time it takes place in the state of Florida, Fort Lauderdale Board Convention Center, July 10th, the 11th, the 12th. Belizeans from the diaspora, Belizeans from home in Belize, join together. Let's do it again. 3 days, government services, clinics, business displays, kitty corner, pop-up trivias, panel discussions. There will be highlights for business mixers. There will be live performance. Racindio, Destiny Wagner is going to be there. There's going to be a live performance of Makobi. And you will have Immigration and Civil Rights Town Hall. Special guest Kenneth Gibson, interview and book reading. There will be a wind-up reception, rhythms and rum. It's happening, Police Dashboard 2.0, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Board Convention Center. Don't miss it.
Whether the job is big or small, every super handy dad needs the right tools. And at Brothers Habet and Habet, we have what you need. Enjoy super savings all June like 15% off all power tools and hand tools, 25% off track car batteries, Eureka Vats, and Pisaforte towels, 25% off Penta Decon and discontinued colors, 30% off Valspar, and 40% off Dutch Boy paints. Plus, we're giving away $200 to 6 lucky super handy dads. Every $50 you spend gets you a chance to win. So this year, give Dad his best gift yet from Brothers Habet and Habet. Come in or reach out today. Happy Father's Day to all super handy dads.
At Atlantic Bank, we stand as more than just a financial institution. We are your partners in progress, dedicated to fostering your success by providing tailored solutions to micro, small, and medium enterprises. Your successes are our triumphs, and every success story deserves to be celebrated. We pledge to stand by you every step of the way. Today, we celebrate the values that define you with your unwavering dedication, steadfast commitment, boundless innovation, resolute work ethic, and unyielding ambition. We will navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and continue building the future together.
Imagine getting rewards for your spending. Smart prepaid customers countrywide, it's time to level up with Smart Gains. Smart Gains are exclusive, limited time offers sent straight to your phone. We're talking irresistible rewards. You'll actually want extra credit, bonus data, and exclusive perks, all tailored to you. Because at Smart, we've always got your back. Don't miss out on rewards made just for you. Smart Gains, Smart Savings, Smart You. Smart, bringing people together.
Tired of appliances that just don't last? Appliances that just can't keep up? It's time for a change. GE Appliances delivers reliability, innovation, and performance you can trust. The decision is easy. Don't settle for less. Choose quality, choose reliability, choose GE. Paid for by homeowners who demand better appliances.
World shifts to regional supply chains, Belize is poised to lead. This is where blue innovation meets green ambition, and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro. From agribusiness to aquaculture, from renewable energy to digital services, from tourism to trade, this is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025, Bridging Markets, Building Resilience, September 3rd to 5th at Sunset Carib, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
To Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for this morning, Thursday, June 26, 2025. It's about 20 minutes to 8. We have a guest with this morning, brother from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. He's a criminologist by training, brother Darius Figueira. Morning, brother.
Greetings, greetings. Good morning.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How the morning? What are you going on at Trinidad?
Well, as usual in Trinidad, I made my walk up the mountain and I'm back home.
Good, good, good. You're the move. I have shared with our listeners, viewers, and those streaming online about this book that you wrote 7 years ago, Belize Human Smuggling, Transnational Organized Crime, Politicians and Public Servants. Before I meet you a couple weeks ago, I never hear about this book, and I even know this book exists. And that you used the audit report that was just, I have more appreciation for the people who did that report after you told me about this book you wrote. But as a criminologist, have you had an opportunity like this before where you just come up on wealth and knowledge, where connect the dots in our particular country with the people who are involved in a human smuggling, transnational organized crime? Have you before this experience with Belize?
Well, I became interested in Belize because Belize is part of CARICOM and Belize is part of our common historical ancestry. And specifically because of the fact that Belize borders Mexico and Guatemala. So I started following Belizean newspapers online for some time, especially Amandala. And in understanding the terrain of the illicit trades in Belize, when Amandala started printing the reports on the Senate committee, I started reading them every time they appeared in Amandala and saving them. Because what was being revealed in the Senate committee hearings, and Amandala gave very detailed reports, it taught me potent lessons because of the revelations being made of the power dynamics between transnational organized crime and the actual running of the state agencies. Because remember, I don't live in Belize, so I don't have the means by which to come into contact with people over a period of time as I did in Trinidad and Tobago. And through constant contact with people in the system, learn what is going on in the system. Belize went one step further and gave reports on what was being stated in the committee hearings. And that indicated to me revelations on the terrain, which subsequently applied to all of the ex-colonies of the Caribbean, the British colonies, which further proved to me that the constitutions the colonial massa wrote and handed to us and we embraced willingly with our so-called independence was deliberately structured to maintain our dependence upon them and simply to turn us from colonies into neo-colonies. Because the state that was constructed by this same template of British colonialism is inherently weak because it cannot evolve on its own to constantly respond to threats over time and space. So the states that we inherited in the 60s and thereafter remains trapped in stasis and inertia. It is unable to evolve. The agencies of the state are unable to evolve because the structure of the state means that the states are the state is so politicized. The state is so under the thumb of the elected politicians that nothing goes on without the will of the politician. The state is entirely politicized from top to bottom. So when I understood that fully, and then I applied it to the decade of the 1960s when Colombian organized crime started moving through the Caribbean, I got the realization that we are now faced with a state that is incapable of rapid evolution to mitigate the threat posed by transnational organized crime to ensure public safety. And what has happened now in the 21st century, it has become so acute that the state in itself is not fit for purpose. And that is why the gun violence in the Caribbean is ratcheted up. So this morning I read a report about a gun violence driven act of terrorism in Barbados that occurred. That has me very, very disturbed. Because what is happening now, apparently, it has now spread to Barbados. So, that is where we are in the Caribbean.
Can you describe what transnational organized crime is?
Transnational organized crime is crime that has evolved to the extent where it is no longer operating within a specific state. It is now transnational. It is now operating simultaneously through various states throughout the world with a single command and control center that runs this entire organization with a world strategy to generate income, to amass wealth, and to keep rapidly evolving to ensure that they transcend time and space. So it is a rational, logical organization. Transnational organized crime as organized crime is not criminals because they're just bad. This is a business, but it is an illicit business. And an illicit business operates different from a legal or legal business. So you have to understand the organic nature of an illegal business, an illicit business that is now transnational. So what you can therefore call them is the multinational corporation of the illicit trades. And that is what is now endemic throughout the Caribbean. Because remember, we are placed as a transition zone between Latin America, first the North Atlantic, then Africa, and now Asia. So this transition zone is constantly having transnational organized crime present to move illicit products through here to go to their final consumer markets. And in so doing, they intend to control their transition markets. So there is a deliberate attempt to control.
Who are the primary actors in these countries? In Belize's case, where you looked at that Auditor General report from the Special Senate Select Committee, who are the actors who ensure that this transnational organized crime stays active? Oftentimes we would see black men being paraded in front of the camera, their state of emergency. It's just a cycle. But we don't see the other actors I recognize you saying that the Westminster system is what enables these actors to continue this throughout the world. But who are the actors? Not only in Belize, but who are usually the actors, regardless of which political party is in leadership? Who are usually the actors?
The what has happened is that transnational organized crime has created its own social order. It is an illicit social order with sections of it that parades as being legal. So throughout the Caribbean today, we have now throughout the Caribbean oligarchs of states in the Caribbean who are oligarchs because they are drug traffickers. But these oligarchs run front businesses. And these oligarchs wield potent political power. But throughout the Caribbean, what we have in fact is a race order of a division of labor even within the illicit economy, where Africans are the hewers of wood and the drawers of water, and the non-African races are the oligarchs. So that perpetuates the white supremacist view that the African is genetically criminogenic, that the African has a propensity for criminality. Whereas in fact, the Africans are the drawers of wood and hewers of water by dint of a deliberate structure, a race order of power. So throughout the Caribbean, you have no Africans who are part of the oligarchy and no African families. So that is what we must accept. In the case of Belize, Belize has to understand that it is impacted by the geography, its geography, where it sits next to. So the whole game in Belize has been heavily impacted by the fact that Belize borders with Mexico. But what Belizeans have to understand is that the game in Mexico has dramatically changed. And it is now impacting Belize. And that means the game in Belize is going to dramatically change. And you're seeing the signs of the change.
What do you mean by that?
Before, Mexico was opened up as the primary transition point for Colombian-produced cocaine into the United States of America. But the American cocaine market has collapsed. It has been destroyed by synthetic drugs. So there is less and less tonnage of cocaine crossing from Mexico into the US and more of synthetic drugs. So the question arises that Belizeans must now come to grips with: what is Belize's place in this new division of labor? Because remember, with synthetic drugs, you can get the precursors, place the precursors in Mexico, and produce your synthetic drugs and export it. You can also put up your labs in America and manufacture your synthetic drugs. But you can also put up labs in Belize and manufacture your synthetic drugs. So if Belize has these porous borders, and in my book you will notice that I indicated the importation of precursors already in Belize. So it is very, very easy, as long as in Belize you can import these precursors with impunity, that in Belize you're going to get labs producing synthetic drugs within Belize. And it's going to change the entire nature of the Belizean market. So I simply cannot understand Why is policing in Belize, why does it continue to lock up people for having a crack pipe and having 2 and 3 crack ball, when these people don't need locking up? These people need interventions. They are addicts in need of intervention. So why this hardcore old colonial social control policing when you have an environment in Belize that is so dynamic? The next thing we must understand, as the American border is now at war with the rest of the world, the cost for you to cross from Mexico into America has skyrocketed. So that means the only people who is still transitioning through Belize into Mexico to cross the border illicitly into America is people who have the money to pay the coyotes to take them into America. And the going rate now is 12,000 US a trip. Base. And the common reality is they grab you, your family pay the 12,000 US, and then in the process of holding you, they call your family and tell them, we want more money. So that is the reality. So the whole dynamic is changing, because remember, Belize became infamous when there was this trafficking ring moving Chinese illicit migrants into Belize to end up in America. That was the first time Belize's name sounded in the game internationally. It was a huge illicit human smuggling ring from China to Belize to America by Sister Po. And they dismantled Sister Po's operation. But the fact of the matter is, because you dismantle an operation, that don't mean you dismantle the pipeline. The pipeline survives. So everything is dynamic, everything is in change. But the fact of the matter is, these old servile neocolonial state structures that we run simply cannot rapidly evolve to constantly face off on the changing threats to mitigate them. So public safety suffers.
It concerns me that we have a system that doesn't work. We have people within those systems who, if the system never designed for work, and then the people in the system are not trustworthy, then the Belizean public will never be safe. And you're saying this is the same throughout the Caribbean. So what's the solution?
The solution, the problem we face, my sister, all of us face it, is that the only people who can bring the change because of the nature of the Constitution are the politicians. So the question arises, how can we then persuade the politicians to make themselves redundant? That is the problem. Because the way the Constitution is structured, the only people who have the power to reform it are the ruling politicians and the opposition sitting on the next side. And the question arises, will they willingly make themselves redundant? Will they willingly hand power to the masses? No. So the fact of the matter is, the state is so politicized, and the way it is structured, the state cannot even help itself. And the most insidious part of the Constitution the British handed us is the electoral system. This one past the post, first past the post system, where you draw constituency boundaries, you gerrymander it at will, And you can win a constituency by one vote. So you manufacture majorities. So that means all of us continue to be plagued by an electoral system which does not reflect the wishes of the electorate. So the one time every 5 years, we the masses have the power. We have no power because the electoral system that Massa handed us and we have embraced up to now because it benefits the politicians, does not reflect and give expression to our wishes that we drop in the ballot box.
It's 8 o'clock. I know I tell you, I need you from 7:30 to 8. But just bear with me. Make I take one quick break and then we'll continue the conversation. That okay with your brother Darius?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, break time. It's 8 o'clock.
Come to banquet, find your way. Engines roar at the break of day. Volvo outboard surf the waves. Castrol oil is what they crave. Live with power, feel the sound. Heavy machines shake the ground. Riding Honda, feeling proud. Rev it up and shout aloud. Feel the wind against your skin. Smell so wide, let's begin. At banquet where dreams ignite. Gear up, but let's take flight. Kohler's power runs our towns. JCB lifts heavy pounds. Find the tools to build your dreams. Banquip's got the best machines. Grip the wheel and never slip. Feel the rush, it's time to trip. Every brand you know and love. Banquip fits you like a glove. Feel the wind against your skin. Smell so wide, let's begin. At Banquip where dreams ignite. Gear up, but let's take flight.
Banquip, equipment, parts, service. We represent quality.
Let's take a journey through the core functions of the Social Security Board. It all starts with registering as an insured person, employer, or self-employed individual. Sign up for a portal account to manage your Social Security information online. Just provide accurate information and click Create. This will give you access to a range of services and benefits. Next, your contribution, along with investments and other income, are collected and distributed into 3 funds. This ensures that the SSB fund is securely utilized to support various benefit programs. The SSB is committed to providing essential benefits such as sickness, maternity, injury, and pension. These benefits are paid out to eligible individuals as a part of the Social Security coverage. We help you navigate through life's challenges with financial security. Annual surplus accumulates to grow the fund each year. This surplus is invested into various industries, contributing to the growth and development of our nation. With each passing year, the fund continues to grow due to the annual surplus and interest revenue earned from prudent investments. This surplus, along with reserves, helps to bolster the SSB fund and provide a safety net for those in need. We've arrived at the end of our journey to better understanding how the SSB works. We remain committed to serving you and building a secure future for all Belizeans.
Whether you are a busy person or stuck in traffic or having an adverse or very demanding circumstance, tension builds up, causing you to be stressed out. Stress attacks everyone, anytime, any age. And stress is a killer. Palm City? It's best to be alive than dead. So visit Freetown Drugstore to get options to relieve stress and to relax your mind.
This time, what can I do for you today?
I'm so stressed out.
Okay, I'm saying I help you right now. When I this daily, for 10 days, I am good after that, okay?
Okay.
Freetown Drugstore, 28 Freetown Road, where you are better off alive than dead. Freetown Drugstore, telephone 223-2876.
In 2024, the Belizean diaspora took over Los Angeles with the first ever Belize Diaspora Summit, and you know the only thing that could be ever better than that is to do it again. Belize Diaspora Summit 2.0. This time it takes place in the state of Florida, Fort Lauderdale Board Convention Center, July 10th, the 11th, the 12th. Belizeans from the diaspora, Belizeans from home in Belize, join together. Let's do it again. 3 days, government services, clinics, business displays, kitty corner, pop-up trivias, panel discussions. There will be highlights for business mixers. There will be a live performance. Rasindo, Destiny Wagner is going to be there. There's going to be a live performance of Makobi. And you will have Immigration and Civil Rights Town Hall. Special guest Kenneth Gibson, interview and book reading. There will be a wind-up reception, rhythms and rum. It's happening. Police Dashboard 2.0, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Powell Convention Center. Don't miss it.
Let's all be safe during the rainy season. Belize Electricity Limited reminds you that heavy rains can cause flooding in your neighborhood and on roads. Avoid driving or walking in flooded areas, which can have hidden dangers such as debris and fallen power lines. Belize Electricity Limited cares about your safety. Please stay safe.
Belize Morning Vibes. We have our guest by Zoom, Brother Darius Figueira from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. 7 years ago, he wrote a book, Belize Human Smuggling, Transnational Organized Crime, Politicians and Public Servants. Someone left a comment on Facebook. Let me share it quickly and then continue reasoning with Brother Darius. Belize is one such place where our government appears to be constituted of law-abiding people who just make bad decisions from time to time. But we have straight-up criminals or their associates in our government. Brother Darius, what's happening in Belize, as we both shared before, not just it happened at Belize. I know you've been on the airwaves in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in Antigua, in Jamaica, now in Belize. But in Belize's case, you wrote a book specifically about us. What is it that you're saying to the other Caribbean countries, to the other people in those Caribbean countries about transnational organized crime?
Well, to date, I have written 4 books on the drug trade in the Caribbean, and my Belize book is the 5th. I've dealt with Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Guyana, Dominican Republic, Venezuela. So I study the Caribbean on a daily basis, and what I could tell you, my sister, in the Caribbean archipelago, we are faced in the 3rd decade of the 21st century with a crisis of existence. Because what has happened to us and is happening to us, we have held on to this old colonial legacy for so long that it has underdeveloped us to the state mentally we are suffering from arrested development. Where at the level of the idea, we refuse to understand the depth and the extent and the nature of the crisis that we are in. And the people who are in the most potent depths of denial and delusion are the politicians. They are the ones who have been elected to lead. They are the ones who have accepted the responsibility to chart the course for us from the 21st century forward. And apparently, like, they cannot even grasp that this is the century of the 4th industrial revolution. And the Caribbean is still struggling with the 3rd industrial revolution. And you have places like China that today is driving the 4th at a rapid pace. What is going on in China is in fact mind-boggling. So we must understand that this old model of development that we have embraced and we are holding on to by our fingernails is simply not working for us. And if we did not have the means and the opportunity by which so much of our people have had to pack up and to migrate outwards, that is why throughout the Caribbean, we have this huge diaspora because of the fact that in order to find opportunity, we have had to leave, pack up and go. And that this packing up and going is no longer viable because the North Atlantic has literally shut us down. So what are we going to do next? The welcoming society, the sun, sand, and sea model has failed to drive development. And in the midst of all of this, we have now transnational organized crime present in our societies, wielding power, unleashing violence, and literally dismantling our social orders, value by value, more by more, rendering us into a social order premised on the mentality of a wolf pack, driving gun violence. That is the reality of the Caribbean today. So imagine you are getting reports from the Commonwealth of Dominica today, where you are intercepting illicit weapon flows into Little Dominica with AR-15s and handguns, and you want to know, what do you intend to do with all that weaponry? Are you going to literally overthrow the government and take it over? So the reality is simply disturbing. It is mind-boggling. And the response that we get from every single government is the same old over and over, repeat after repeat, a failed model. It is not working. And they continue to refuse to see and accept that it is not working, and it is time to change to something that is relevant. And those of us who have been telling you that for years, you do your endeavor best to render us vagrants, to silence us. Hopefully, for us to pack up and leave.
I have two Facebook comments and a question. A comment said, because of what you said earlier, because they are black and easy prey, meaning the majority of the people in the wider Caribbean. Another person said, I disagree. The people are the only ones who can fix it, but I'm not delusional. The people can fix it because the people are also corrupt, generally speaking, which is what you have shared in the book that you wrote about Belize, is the role of public servants. So before you came on, I was sharing that the public servants are organizing a rally this Saturday. They have a dispute with the state when it comes to their finance, and they've tied it into some national concerns. But my position is that oftentimes no one holds the public servants accountable, and they're very much a part of the corruption. But if we're not willing to examine ourselves and say we the people are a part of this, even at the point of general elections, what will it take for us to be more mentally liberated, to stop and say this isn't working, it hasn't been working? What can we do differently? Instead of just accepting crumbs and say the crumbs better than nothing at all, and those who are consistently elected and their cronies just left political office wealthier than they were before they came in, not held accountable for the fleecing of public purse. So only the people want to save the people. The people have one responsibility, but we don't used to live like this already. So we not see no other model. Like, what we for the brother Darius?
The great conundrum we face, because it is a very perplexing reality, because if you want to save yourself, you must have the knowledge to understand what is wrong and to formulate a solution. But since colonial domination, the structure has been established to perpetually prevent us from acquiring such knowledge. And with the coming of independence, that structure was never dismantled. Just look at the news that is broadcast, the source of the news, the international news. Just look at what is in the textbooks. It is an order of power that was formulated under colonial domination, and it was never changed. We were never liberated with independence. So the same white supremacist order of power exists today under independence, and it has grown stronger because it was now boosted and backed up by American consumerism. So what happens is that the people are corrupt, because in a social order where you do not police corruption, human beings will feed at the trough. And what we have resorted to in the Caribbean is finger pointing. And as usual, the poor people are the scapegoats. So you insist that we are all poor because we are all thieves, to justify your unwillingness to make the sacrifice to change. So what you do You create a self-fulfilling prophecy, which proves that we, the masses, are unwilling to change. But to change is a process that depends upon knowledge, education, and exposure to an alternate way of viewing the world, that you can now discern what was wrong with where you placed yourself before. If you ensure that you never expose people to this from the time they enter your school system, from preschool to university, that means it will always be a very small number of people, a handful of people who break this cycle and speak out against what is going on, and they can always easily silence a handful of people. So that is the dynamics of the power. That is the order of power that is so colonial, so effective, because remember, the colonial order of power is premised upon riddling us with self-hate. So the first thing you do is that you question the validity of yourself as a human. And that is what renders you servile. Because you are constantly involved in a process of trying to prove yourself worthwhile to your superior. So if you still keep thinking servile, can you ever free yourself, my sister?
No. No.
So you have first order of business is to break your servility. And the system under independence maintains the servility. So when you look at the material that is taught to our children from preschool to university, it is material that is geared to rendering them servile by self-hate. So when one person comes along and squeezes and gets into the University of the West Indies and is now standing up and lecturing freedom from self-hate, liberation, what do they do to that person? They get rid of you. And that's it. Back to normal. So when you keep pointing fingers at each other, that is just reinforcement of what goes on. So every single human who gets placed into a system which enables them to be corrupt and to get rich by that corruption with impunity will be tempted to do it. And that is enhanced and becomes ingrained by the fact that every single person who does not want to join the corruption, their career is destroyed, they are frustrated until they either surrender or they leave.
Brother Darius,
yeah.
You're connecting a lot of dots. And I know that you're talking from personal experience. And what a sacrifice it has been for you over decades to stay true to yourself and to our people and do this work. We have another 5 minutes before we have to wrap. We're one left with way in another 5 minutes.
What I want to tell my brothers and sisters in Belize is that it is time to understand at a personal level the crisis we are in the Caribbean. It is common to all of us. It have no state in the Caribbean better off than another one. All of us in crisis. And it is time that we band together as a people with a common origin and a common future. Learn the world, learn what is going on in the world, understand where we came from, understand what our ancestors went through, understand the resistance that they mounted and the legacy they bequeathed to us of resistance and survival. Go back to the source and now understand that if we fail now to make a stand to turn this thing around, that is it for us. Because what we must all understand, civilizations collapse, and the Caribbean is on the brink of collapse. Civilizations have no innate right to exist across time and space forever and ever, amen. They collapse and new ones arise. Understand that. We are in crisis.
I hear you, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. For an everyday person, what is struggle just to make ends meet? We really just have the energy, or they have the energy sometimes to get up and go hustle for making money and eat. So that when one of their children or family member get one first degree, they're happy about that. Now, they're not that the family actually say one material change in the extended family. They're just happy that one person get the degree. So right now the chase is forget degrees, because if you're a public servant, you get increments. And just the fact that you have one degree, I see some people attitude change. They're like, they feel validated by that degree. And the degree in of itself not liberate their mind. You could tell because of how they express themselves, how they think, how they engage. But there's this chase for degrees, and I really appreciate you making the point today about the colonial mindset of the control of knowledge and what knowledge you get. And when you only get one primarily European worldview, for them curriculum not based on the history of indigenous and African people and how they resisted and how they thrived and how they survived for make we there. And so we just go get their colonial papers, called degrees, and we think we contribute to the development of our country, our people. So I don't know what happened to it, brother. I mean, people like me and you or other people who do this work want dead out. Everybody another run for the kind of hard life here, for the liberation of people. So what keep you hopeful?
Well, I have to have hope, because I cannot live in despair. And as long as I have life and strength, I will continue to do my work and to talk. But the fact of the matter is, you surrender at the level of the idea. And what we must all understand, liberation is at the level of the idea. And what we must never ever forget is that if you surrender, what is the legacy are you leaving to your children and your grandchildren and everybody else? That is the issue, because our ancestors left a viable legacy for us. Resistance to enslavement, resistance to colonial domination. But what is the legacy we are leaving to our bloodline with independence? What? Gun violence, poverty, deprivation, continuous underdevelopment, servility, self-hate. That is our legacy? No. No. Cannot be. Our ancestors then will be cursing us. That is the reality.
Well, it's 8:30. Big thanks, Brother Darius, for taking the time, the energy, the years of commitment to yourself, our African ancestors, and Indians for you as well. And to the people of the Caribbean, you could go buy Brother Darius' book, Belize, Human Smuggling, Transnational Organized Crime, Politicians and Public Servants. Big thanks, brother. Lot of love.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Break time.
Bye.
In 2024, the Belizean diaspora took over Los Angeles with the first ever Belize Diaspora Summit, and you know the only thing that could be ever better than that is to do it again. Belize Diaspora Summit 2.0. This time it takes place in the state of Florida, Fort Lauderdale Port Convention Center, July 10th, the 11th, the 12th. Belizeans from the diaspora, Belizeans from home in Belize, join together. Let's do it again. 3 days, government services, clinics, business displays, kitty corner, pop-up trivias, panel discussions. There will be highlights for business mixers. There will be live performance. Racindio, Destiny Wadney is going to be there. There's going to be a live performance of Makobi. And you will have Immigration and Civil Rights Town Hall. Special guest Kenneth Gibson, interview and book reading. There will be a wind-up reception, rhythms and rum. It's happening, Police Dashboard 2.0, Florida, Fort Lauderdale Port Convention Center. Don't miss it.
In Belize, we value our families, we value our communities, we value our neighbors. 90% of Belizeans think it's time for laws that protect all of us and reflect society at its best. 94% of Belizeans agree that public spaces in Belize should be more accessible to people living with disabilities. In Belize, we believe in fair treatment and supporting one another. We know that our beautiful country is at its best when we come together for the greater good. 2 out of 3 Belizeans support a new law to prevent discrimination in employment and public spaces. It shouldn't matter where we come from, who we love, or what we look like. Belizeans deserve to live our best lives. It's time for laws that protect all of us and reflect our society at its best. Equal Opportunities Bill. Belize, we're ready.
At Atlantic Bank, we stand as more than just a financial institution. We are your partners in progress, dedicated to fostering your success by providing tailored solutions to micro, small, and medium enterprises. Your successes are our triumphs, and every success story deserves to be celebrated. We pledge to stand by you every step of the way. Today, we celebrate the values that define you with your unwavering dedication, steadfast commitment, boundless innovation, resolute work ethic, and unyielding ambition. We will navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and continue building the future together.
Nando's Wholesale is your market leader in Belize's wholesale industry when it comes to high-quality products at the most reasonable and competitive prices. With over 40 years in the wholesale business, Nando's Wholesale embraces the partnership of the hotel industry in Belize by providing world-renowned brands in wines, seasonings, condiments, and cleaners in industrial sizes, as well as small and large kitchen appliances and equipment. Nando's also takes pride in providing one of the quietest and most durable air conditioning systems in Belize with technical support and spare parts. Nando's Wholesale. Professional, reliable, effective, and prompt. Nando's Wholesale always delivers. Visit us at www.nandos.bz or send an email to nandos@nandos.bz. Or, even better yet, give us a call today at 222-500 or 280-8080 to speak to one of our sales representatives today.
Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's about 8:36ish. So we don't have a lot of time left till 9 o'clock. The phone number is 280-5848. That was a heavy conversation, serious conversation. A lot for process. I encourage Belizeans, for those listening, viewing, watching, to share that link. You could go to XTV Belize on Facebook and on YouTube and share the link. The knowledge is so important. Brother Darius Figueira make one excellent point about the importance of sharing knowledge. And you said that one of the things where there are different ways to learn. You know, you could not be, not go in a classroom, go sit down, and you still learn about life. You still learn the lessons. You still able to navigate. You still able to, live one decent life as a human being. And then there's also another, knowledge system where, with the wars that happen right now, more would learn about the world geographically, learn about the heads of state so we never even know exist, just because that would take up a lot of media time and attention if you're to watch news, and it depends on what kind of news you're to watch. I wouldn't encourage there's some Belizeans who are not just Belizeans, but I just said Belizeans because they're Belizeans and they're Belize, who are very stuck on what they call legacy media, or the traditional media houses from one of the United States, for example. They're not authentic news. There are other media sources, and prior to last year, something where Sunday Review spent a lot of time on Facebook is to offer alternative news sources so that you get one different perspective. So you could make one more informed decision because you get it from different points of view. So Al Jazeera, I stuck by Al Jazeera right now. But then somebody tell me about Free Speech TV, I think it's called. I had never heard about Free Speech TV before. But it's another source that you may want to consider. There's The Independent, Double Down News. Morning, thank you for call. Talk to me. Thank you for call.
Very, very, very loaded conversations, and I earlier with the brother, and having traveled the Caribbean, just about every country in the Caribbean, save for one that I save it because I want to go and spend days there, and that's Jamaica and Cuba. He is so on point. He was so on point with a lot of dynamics that he described. But where Belize is concerned, he was speaking to me when he talked about, and paraphrasing, being labeled or relegated to being rebels. And you're silenced. This has been the way in Belize for decades. And I lost my palate. I was like, this is like putting a pillow over my face and suffocating me. I could not, I will not survive in such a society. I'm looking at America right now, where I live, and certain political moves where certain books are banned. They're outright. They're outright. They're overt moves to silence and relegate people of color, meaning we, the Black one, and the Latinos, overt laws that are being made to make sure that we remain what, and I don't use the term minority. But one place I disagreed with him was where he spoke about the politicians that the politicians are the ones who can fix it. And I get him in a sense, but I think too that it's our people and conversations like this will awaken one person, and one person will awaken another person. You see that woke term when people over here so get upset by, and we have to go through that we have to wake up so we can be woke. Because until our people, a vast portion of our population and our poor people, because they're the ones who go to vote, in earnest. They're the ones who are convinced to vote either red or blue because something will change for them. And then they are misled by $50, $100. I've seen checks. I've seen up to $500 checks signed by politicians. Until they understand that this is another form of bondage. Because what our politics has done in Belize is created a class. So it no matter if it's a PUP, UDP, or what are the third parties. You belong to a certain class once you are recognized or you are assigned certain power. Because we confuse somebody holding an office, or somebody being voted into office, being voted into government. In fact, we make them synonyms. You are voted into office. You are elected into office, and we say you got power. We vote them into power. I don't vote nobody into power over me. I do not use that word. You do not have power over me. The only person who got power over me is Renee Nunes. And we confuse that. So when we start to understand that these people do not have that power, we don't vote them. We not give them power, because when you go vote for them, then you vote to give them power over you. And anytime you get rid of that concept and realize that I elect you, I pick you to go do a certain job to make my community, my family, and my community better. We get the difference. So this brother, his conversation was it hit home with me, and I hope that other people have been really. He was speaking my language. He was preaching to this choir member. But thank you, sister. Big up the Zinfence. Big up XTV for such a wholesome conversation this morning.
Renee, I appreciate you calling in, and one of the, that's why having conversations and knowledge sharing really matter, especially when we don't agree, because that's the part you could learn. But one of we challenge that we don't even know how to have conversations. So they usually, we not listen for learn or understand what the person is say. The person that talk enough we mind we done, they push back already and they cut them out. So we not create spaces where we could really listen to each other with respect. Listen for learn, for understand, for ask questions if we don't understand something. For say, I don't need to do more research. Like we not that's one thing we know today. And then secondly, I think she done it that she got. And then secondly, this idea of democracy has just been a lie. We have not been living up the people by the people. Good morning. Morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, sis.
Morning, brother. Talk to me, brother George.
Yes, very briefly, because I know that show is winding down.
Yes.
The brother I just got like 5 minutes of it, but he was so on point that the part of the conversation that his delivery that I identified with was Caribbean people, not necessarily the government, but the people are at the same critical juncture. It's poverty, it's denial, it's an eternal struggle. I think that he was very, very much on point with that. I saw somewhere very recently that when you look at what is happening with Belize, there's this narrative that the economy is doing well, all is bright and beautiful, but in reality it is not. The government of Belize in terms of its financial position, is in crisis. I listened to the Prime Minister yesterday. Well, I actually read that he was basically saying that the publication on taxes, there's a whole slew of taxes owed to the government, I believe, should have been handled differently. I am saying no. When you talk about poverty, if you are sheltering certain people from taxes, then you are saying that that tax burden must fall on the poor. And I am saying no. Let us all deal with equity, and that equity must be that if you owe taxes, then you should pay those taxes. And if you've been delinquent for all the while that you have been delinquent, then you should be brought to account, So, yes, I identify with the guy very much. I believe that the struggles that we feel, the whole issue sis, of inflation is something that I don't think that we talk about enough. I believe that what we need is for poor people to understand that you're not got no knight in shining armor that will upon me and come to your rescue. We have to do what we have to do. I think that some of what needs to happen, we are seeing the union, Brother Dean Flowers, I believe has his fingers on the pulse in terms of saying what can be done and what ought to be done for government to behave responsibly in terms of alleviating the struggles of the working class and the poor, no?
I hear brother George, the brother Darius 7 years ago wrote one book when he believes human smuggling, transnational organized crime, politicians and public servants after the Auditor General and his staff made the Immigration and Naturalization report, and he had a Senate Select Committee. And so he explained that with this Westminster system what we have, create the engine throughout the British colonies, because they're not still colonies, they have Governor General who answer to the European King Charles III. Within that system, and then you have people, so you have a system was never designed for liberate people. And then you have actors such as politicians and public servants, and the people who are going to vote them people in over and over again, will have we lacking in our system, were never designed for work, or one of the work for we. It not the work. So and it's good that we're reasoning it through, but we as individuals have to examine ourselves, and he said that the importance of knowledge. But then coming from colonized time, only when certain people have certain knowledge, and they understand what happened globally, because he say transnational crime is changing, and so they like antiquated response like profiling people, lock up people, beat up people, SOE. I don't know what happened more to look at that, not the work. The whole landscape when it comes to transnational organized crime has changed. So there's a lots of moving parts, but having knowledge, they're one big part of that. And I know I have to go to a break, but I don't know if you know that we have bragging rights this morning. I don't know if you hear about it yet. Brother, we have bragging rights because last summer, YaYa Educational Foundation and Belize Federation of Fishers and Brother George's BFF consultant, technical advisor, we had 2 European scholars in country, and one of them look at blue bonds from a human rights perspective. Well, he had his research published, big time journal in the Brother George. In the Journal of International Economic Law 2025, it's called A Social Legal, you can pull it up, Christy, A Social Legal Examination of Belize's Debt Swap from a Human Rights Perspective. Big respect, Orange or not Kilik. He is Turkish by birth. And so, oh yes, I went open page 1, Brother George. He recognized with our work. We not grasses, people don't get them moments after, and he's a credible person. So he said, Orange or not Kilik, doctoral researcher, Faculty of Law, University of Antwerp, I would like to acknowledge and express my profound gratitude to YaYa, Marin, Coleman, and UBAD Educational Foundation in Belize for hosting my research during the summer of 2024. Their support was invaluable for the research to take place. Special thanks to the Belize Federation of Fishers and Tommaso Ferrando for their support throughout the fieldwork, and the 2 anonymous reviewers for their helpful comments on the latest version of the draft. This research was conducted following the approval of the Ethics Committee for the Social Sciences and Humanities at the University of Antwerp. We're not getting bragging rights, regular brother George.
Hold on a sec, sis. One sec. Can you tell us where this book written by our Trinidadian brethren can be obtained?
You could buy it.
I didn't know about this.
You could buy it on Amazon, brother. And the first chapter you could, I want to send it to you. The first chapter you could read on Kindle. It's revolutionary. And names, again, he said that how he started to study Belize because of where Belize is geographically between Guatemala and Mexico. We got porous borders, and he studied transnational organized crime. And for overstand that it only could happen the way it do because of the oligarchy, wealthy, or what I call the predatory class, that they front the businesses, what a parallel economy they happen, and they're not for their face to see the parade on TV every minute to that Belize Central Prison. And this is true for the entire Caribbean, he say.
Very good.
All right, I have to go. Thanks for the call, George.
Have a good one.
One love.
Yes.
Break time.
In 2024, the Belizean diaspora took over Los Angeles with the first ever Belize Diaspora Summit, and you know the only thing that could be ever better than that is to do it again. Belize Diaspora Summit 2.0. This time it takes place in the state of Florida, Fort Lauderdale Board Convention Center, July 10th, the 11th, the 12th. Belizeans from the diaspora, Belizeans from home in Belize, join together. Let's do it again. 3 days, government services, clinics, business displays, kitty corner, pop-up trivias, panel discussions. There will be highlights for business mixers. There will be live performance of Racindio. Destiny Wagner is going to be there. There's going to be a live performance of Makobi. And you will have Immigration and Civil Rights Town Hall. Special guest Kenneth Gibson, interview and book reading. There will be a wind-up reception, rhythms and rum. It's happening, Belize Diaspora 2.0, Florida, Fort Lauderdale Board Convention Center. Don't miss it.
In Belize, diversity is our strength. From the vibrant streets of Corozal to the serene beauty of Punta Gorda, and from the charming town of Benque to the breathtaking views of Half Moon Key. We are a tapestry of cultures, traditions, and perspectives. But amidst our differences, there's one thing that unites us all, that defines the essence of Belizean identity. Our love for this land and sea we call home. Our Belize Barrier Reef is more than just a natural wonder. It's the lifeblood of our nation, the foundation of our culture, and the backbone of our economy. Every lobster caught, every conch harvested, every tourist enchanted, every investor satisfied, every proud homeowner, and every taxpayer. They all depend on the health and vitality of our marine environment.
I may be out on the water every day, but I know that my livelihood is tied to the health of the reef. We all depend on it.
As a tour guide, I get to share the beauty of a reef with visitors from around the world. But Taiwan, future generations of Belizeans to experience it too.
Fresh seafood is the heart of Belizean cuisine. I want to continue creating delicious dishes that celebrate our local flavors, sustainably sourced from our waters.
In Belize, we may come from different backgrounds, but we all share the same dream. A thriving marine environment capable of sustaining us all. Together, let's work toward that future. A future where we all thrive.
At Atlantic Bank, we stand as more than just a financial institution. We are your partners in progress, dedicated to fostering your success by providing tailored solutions to micro, small, and medium enterprises. Your successes are our triumphs, and every success story deserves to be celebrated. We pledge to stand by you every step of the way. Today, we celebrate the values that define you with your unwavering dedication, steadfast commitment, boundless innovation, resolute work ethic, and unyielding ambition. We will navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and continue building the future together.
Make light work lighter and quicker with switch technology from Axi Power Tools. Axi Switch technology breaks the bondage of power cords and grants you the luxury of freedom and precision. Switch one battery across all your Axi line power tools effortlessly, allowing for quick and efficient work. Cut the cords. Choose efficiency with Axi Switch technology. Only at Benny's. Quality and savings.
Let's take a journey through the core functions of the Social Security Board. It all starts with registering as an insured person, employer, or self-employed individual. Sign up for a portal account to manage your Social Security information online. Just provide accurate information and click Create. This will give you access to a range of services and benefits. Next, your contribution, along with investments and other income, are collected and distributed into 3 funds. This ensures that the SSB fund is securely utilized to support various benefit programs. The SSB is committed to providing essential benefits such as sickness, maternity, injury, and pension. These benefits are paid out to eligible individuals as a part of the Social Security coverage. We help you navigate through life's challenges with financial security. Annual surplus accumulates to grow the fund each year. This surplus is invested into various industries, contributing to the growth and development of our nation. With each passing year, the fund continues to grow due to the annual surplus and interest revenue earned from prudent investments. This surplus, along with reserves, helps to bolster the SSB fund and provide a safety net for those in need. We've arrived at the end of our journey to better understanding how the SSB works. We remain committed to serving you and building a secure future for all Belizeans.
To Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes Talk Show. It's time to shut the shop. Definitely want to thank the listeners, viewers, those streaming online, the people who left Facebook comments, the one who call, what text. Big thanks. Our security guard when I came in this morning was Lloyd Lewis. Now it's Shane Flowers here at XTV. Technical Director, Sister Christy Flowers. Big thanks, Christy. Lead engineer, Brother Cliff Lewis, downstairs on the 2nd floor. We have Larry Guerrero, known as Larry G. This show will repeat at 3:30 today, play on local TV. Oh, sorry, Tony Grant. What's up, Tony? So he's at XTV, at Crime Radio. And then at 3:30, this show will repeat on your local channel. Remember, you can listen to XTV Belize Facebook, XTV Belize YouTube, to all of we programming. Friend whip on YouTube. Subscribe. Until tomorrow morning, Creator give us health and strength. Remember, say, only the people and save the people.
This is the show my people believe our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah. No respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes to be obeyed. And all the things that must happen and not got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up.